My wife had always been someone I deeply trusted. For years, we had built a life together filled with understanding, support, and love. But over the last few months, something began to shift. She started hanging out more often with a group of women from her workplace. I didn't mind at first. Everyone needs friends. But I noticed how her mindset began to change after every meeting with them. She'd come home with a different energy, sometimes cold, sometimes overly critical. She began pointing out flaws in our relationship that never seemed to bother her before. She compared me to other men, saying things like, Sophia's husband plans surprises for her, or you never post about me like Zara's husband does. At first, I tried to improve. I made more effort, asked her out more, brought home little gifts, but nothing was ever enough. Her attitude had clearly changed, and it felt like those friends of hers were planting ideas in her mind. Then, one evening, she told me she was leaving for a week. When I asked why, she said, I need to teach you a lesson. You take me for granted. The girls said a little break might help you realize what you have. I sat there stunned, not because she was going, but because she thought this was an acceptable thing to do in a marriage. Leaving to teach me a lesson? It felt like a game, something immature and cruel. I asked her if she truly believed this was the right approach. She didn't answer clearly. She just said she needed time. She packed her suitcase the next morning and left without even a hug. That day was hard, not because I missed her right away, but because I felt betrayed. Not just by her, but by the influence her friends had over our marriage. I thought about the years we'd spent building a life together and how quickly outside voices had shaken her loyalty. That night, I sat at the dining table alone, thinking deeply. I realized this wasn't a one-time issue. If someone else could talk her into walking out now, they could do it again. I wasn't going to live in a marriage where emotional blackmail or manipulation was a way to prove love. So I made a decision, and I made a call. I called a lawyer. I wasn't asking for a divorce just yet, but I wanted to understand my rights and where I stood legally. I needed clarity. I didn't want to be the guy who begged his wife to come home while she was out playing mind games under someone else's advice. I wanted to handle this like an adult, with dignity, calm, and self-respect. 4 days later, she called. Her voice was soft, almost unsure. She asked how I was doing. I said I was fine. She seemed surprised I hadn't been texting her or asking her to come home. Then she asked, Did you miss me? I paused and answered honestly, I missed what we used to be, not what we became. She came home the next day early. Her face was serious. She asked me if I still loved her. I said yes, but that love wasn't enough if respect and partnership were missing. I told her I had spoken to a lawyer, not out of anger, but out of clarity. She started crying and admitted her friends had pressured her into taking the break.